So welcome to Vardiya. This is the fifth shift so far, and today we have a very distinguished guest. Aydan Volkan is joining our pavilion today. So first of all, we would like to thank her for her valuable contribution, and we'll start by reading her short biography, and then we'll leave the stage to her. Aydan Volkan was born in 1969 in Istanbul. She received her bachelor degree in architecture at Istanbul Yıldız Technical University in 1992. She worked in Ertem Ertunga Architectural Office until 1995, and she attended King's College in London for a year afterwards. She continues her practice with Creative Architects as founding partner and principal architect since 1996. She is a member of the Istanbul Freelance Architects Association, where she also served as one of the board of directors between 2013 and 2015. Apart from her professional studies, Aydan Volkan frequently attends conferences, panels, and interviews on related fields and takes place as a jury member of various awards and competitions. So thank you again, Ms. Volkan, and the stage is yours.
Thank you invite me for the, this meeting, and how can I say, I don't know, because my English is not is really perfect. Maybe you can help me, Ayşe, with me. And how about, and I think this is a 20, last in first Venice Biennale, it was started is, I think this is 1986, and that period, every time I went to is Biennale, and very excited for me, because every time I can think about it is pure 3 days or 4 days. I can think about it just only is architecture. And this year is very interesting, this subject in free space. Free and space is different meaning. Is if you one think about just only is free, its meaning is very different. If think about is space, its meaning is very, very different. But if you think about is free space, maybe in Turkish pavilion is I can tell is really free space for myself. Generally, this year, I think I waited this year, this Biennale is free space. I waited is more than free space and free idea, but I couldn't find is more free idea in Biennale. This year I visit to is Venice in 2 times, and first time is opening date, and second time I think is 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I think is it was in 3rd Vardiya in that space. And this year is this 2 women and curator. I'm not a feminist. I believe in humanism. But this year, really, I waited again. I waited is feminist idea in the Biennale. But is maybe I waited is feminist architecture idea, maybe I waited to is for the project for the women's, but again, I couldn't find the feminist idea in this Biennale. Generally, every I was visiting to is Venice Biennale is maybe 10 times, and generally I went to his opening date, and people want to also me wants to see his famous architect and star architects in Venice area. Especially every time I'm very happy to see is Peter Zumthor. Really, I like to his project, and I like to his idea, his general idea. And this, I think, this Vardiya subject in meaning of Carlos Scarpa, isn't it? I couldn't see you.
So this Vardiya is about Carlos Scarpa. The headline, of course, is Taking Scarpa for a Walk. We have a double meaning here, actually, because Scarpa is the surname of Carlos Scarpa, but also at the same time, it means shoes in Italian. So we took our shoes in the walk in Venice to see the Venetian artisanal tradition and craft culture in the city.
And I read his Vardiya's in main things is what is the is Biennale, what is the is Biennale thinking about. I think is generally I think about is for the Biennale is not only is architectural Biennale is generally is if I have a time, every time I can go to the is Art Biennale in Venice. Same I think same thing is can we need to is Biennale for architecture, for art, for other things. A lot of people, a lot of academicians, a lot of university think about to is for can we need to is Biennale? I don't know, but is example is this year is Turkey Pavilion is very important. Is a lot of is young architects and young students. They will go to the Biennale and they will see a lot of project, a lot of exhibition area, and they will think about is architecture is 1 week. I think this is important for the is young people. For Biennale is very important for the is young people and young architects.
Ms. Volkan, if you like, maybe we can engage our students to this conversation. Maybe they can ask you a couple of questions. Okay, that's great.
Hello. I was wondering what your ideas about feminism actually, because as far as I know, it's about a social and political movement which seeks for the woman at the same time in order to ideal space, which we can also talk about the free space itself.
So, can you repeat again, because I couldn't hear you. Last sentence.
Like For me, actually, free space, it's the actual aspect of feminism where we can meet the men and women at the same mode. And I think every architect should be feminist, actually, in order to reach the goal of the free space itself that we're always discussing throughout this Biennale. And what's your opinion about feminism and architecture? I was wondering.
I agree with you, I can say, but it's you can explain to is general idea this is true idea, but and especially this year is two creators in they are women, and maybe I can rate to is special to maybe it's one project and one idea for and special for the feminism, because it's generally is I couldn't see for feminist idea this Biennale.
Hi, Aydan. You mentioned the word free and space and also free ideas. And I wonder, because we've gone through several pavilions so far, and do you have any thoughts on like how to concentrate on certain ideas within this vastness of freedom? Because what we've experienced so far is at the Biennale, there's like overload amount of information. Like how do we narrow down and focus on something within this freedom? Did you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And now is firstly I was watching it in the world, and all the world we have is a lot of problem, as in the world now we have is economical problem. A lot of countries they have a problem for economically, and a lot of is problem is is a lot of people change their land. And Syrian people, these 4 million people, they changed their land. And same problem in is Africa. Same problem is in a east part of the world. And this Biennale, and I think is they curators, they don't want to touch to is contemporary daily and contemporary problem of the world, because it's I believe in architecture. Every time we on architects, every time we can interest to is how about to is how about is around the world the politics, how about is around the world the economics. Example is now in Turkey is last 3 months, or economics is it was a shake, and a lot of countries they have a same problem. But this Biennale is very elitist Biennale. They don't interest is this kind of problem around the world.
Yeah. What is your interpretation of free space? What do you think it's about?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Yeah, what is free space for you? What do you think? Can you hear me?
If I think about first, I think freedom. If I find is free space, first verse is believed is freedom, and but is architecture is general architecture around the world, include my architects. My architecture is same problem. Every time we make a design, we have to want to we want to tell a lot of things, but as architects they have to listen to another people, and I think is we have to listen to is people, as generally is architects wants to people listen to us. And maybe is this biennale we think about is free space and this kind of way, because it's generally example is one project come to our office or and everybody is and think about is new life, a new world, and a new sentence. But is maybe we have to think about is people more. We think about is life, daily life more. I think is my free space this.
Hi. One last question, maybe. Is there any specific project, either in the main exhibition or in the national pavilions, that really spoke to you, inspired you, or excited you?
I like this pavilion especially is and one really not to is polite things, really is I like to is Turkish pavilion, because it's it was I went to his opening date is you didn't start with the is Vardiya, and first I visited the is one is the exhibition. Second time is I arrived is your space, and I see is this long table and people are working and people are talking about something, and that groups is I think is third Vardiya. They were explained to their project to us, and this is the really dynamic exhibition area. Second one is I really like it is Italian pavilion. Is a good idea. Is they find a lot of problematic area and they find a solution for what? For free space. Is I like that pavilion. Maybe I can tell the is end of the is Swiss pavilion is very entertainment areas, is very funny pavilion, and Swiss pavilion, and I was walking to inside and I think about the space, I think about the scale, I think about is what about is free meaning.
Questions? No? Okay. Okay. So I guess our questions are finished. So thank you so much, Ms. Volkan, to be with us in the pavilion. We will maybe see you again in the coming up days of Vardiya. If you have time to visit our pavilion again, you're always welcome, and we would like to hear your thoughts more in the future.
Yes, it's, end of September. We will come to this again in Venice, or with creative office. And that time I think September. I want to see the and see you end of September.
Hopefully. Thank you so much for joining today. Thank you.
Bye bye.